Hello, people. So, today I wanted to talk about the household thing that I was speaking about yesterday. So, I was wondering that how good it feels at times to, while you are passing by a space or maybe you are going to work or something, it feels great to just look at other people's household and feel great looking at their window, looking at what plants they have from their small pots. Now I have learned a lot while looking at, just observing other people's households. But there was this very vivid experience that I once had, and it was while I was in a very vibrant city called Hyderabad, and I was there to, to visit someone, and we both had gone to this place to have a nice little snack. Okay. And while I was having the snack, I was looking at the streets opposite and I was observing these, these flats. I mean, how do you call it? Like it was a building and there are these, it was a building and there are these lots of apartments, of course, similar looking. I mean, they are just a copy paste of all the houses, and I felt a bit anxious. I don't know how can I explain the feeling, but I felt extremely anxious thinking about the people inside. And I don't know if I should be feeling this way or not, but I did feel anxious. Now, I think and I firmly believe that I'm not the only one who has felt this way. Okay? Like recently there was these and I'm sure that this is something that you have seen when you are looking at an earthquake news or something like that. But recently, even in my city and some other cities, there were a building that collapsed. I mean, and of course, like in the past few years, we have seen a lot of news regarding buildings getting collapsed, both old and new. Some buildings are getting tilted in the, across the globe, not just residential buildings, but other kind of buildings as well. Now, while I was looking at that household, I wondered that what are these people doing inside? What might be those people doing inside, etc., etc. Now, each and every time I listen to these kind of news, I kind of get a little worried because worried about myself, worried about the promoters who had built those buildings, worried about the people around, worried about the reporters, whatnot. Okay, now back then, it was a few years ago, this experience. I was having a very tasty dosa, and I looked at those buildings and I wondered that, like, are they working? Are they cooking? Are they eating? What is it that they are doing? But when I noticed this thing on the newspaper, like, this is like just yesterday that I read the news, and suddenly my thought jumped back to that building, and I could not help thinking that, like these people who live like, just like us. Even I live in an apartment in a building which has many other apartments. Like, what are our thoughts regarding this? Are we safe? Do we know what parameters we have to keep ourselves safe? Do we know what is a I mean, it is a concern. It is a concern from my side towards you people, towards basically everyone. And like sometimes I get very scared to even discuss these things because people might be offended, people might not be ready enough to listen to all these things. but this is a thing of huge concern. Now, coming back to the more happy side of the world, so we, like, and like at that point of time, I just could not share this feeling with my friend that, what do you think these people might be doing? But I felt a little bit sad, not about the not about the building, but about the people inside. Why sad? Because I had a feeling that people were cooped up. Like, and when I say cooped up, I meant that people, I wish they were out. I wish they were working outside and not so restive, not so lazy. Now, forward back to a few years, that is now, I completely understand how much important it is to be restive and to be inside home. But to just get out sometimes for a very long term from your present situation, to just visit another place, observe how other people are living. It is such a great thing. Now, there was this another experience that I once had. Like, I was returning from a place, and I was returning from the market in the city only, and it was a lot of years back, okay? And I was returning, and what happened is that I noticed that there was a statue. Okay, there was a statue in the balcony, and I just could not help, looking closer at the statue. Like, I had to. I mean, I remember the traffic was rushing by, and I had to stop myself there, and I just looked at the statue, and the and like suddenly the person moved, and I noticed that it was not a statue, but while person was there, I cannot tell whether it is a what age was the person, because I don't remember that well. But because that person was in a very uh, higher up in the floor, in a very higher up floor, probably in the 20th, or probably even higher up. And like, I was on the street returning home from class, and I noticed that this person was looking downwards like this, and their hand was like this. Like, why would somebody do that? Like, just putting their hand like this, as if they were calling somebody. And I stopped and I tried to notice if they are, like, holding something, if it is something that they are picking up, if it is something that they are uh, trying to put across. But then suddenly, no, that was just not the thing. And that was just not the thing. So immediately, I I boarded the next bus that I could, and I returned home, and I spoke about these incidents to my parents. And like, my mother told me that, you notice things in such a beautiful, organized, and curious way that, there are many things that escapes the usual eye, but you do notice it, and maybe that is why you feel it this way. Now, while I continue on the same topic, I wanted to share something else as well. Okay, so sometimes we might feel that it is not okay to, you know, brag about one's own household, brag about others' household. Okay, for example, um, I have this friend of mine. He is studying somewhere, and she has a small but really cute room at the university, and she is just, like, she has this beautiful wardrobe, a very cozy bed, and all the other necessities. And immediately I remembered my days when I was out of the city working. I had a I had rented a room in a PG, a private room, a single room in a PG. And I had this very little cozy room which everyone, my friends, my colleagues, my anybody who would visit me, they were like, wow, I just love the vibe of your room. And when I look at her room, I feel like, wow, if only I could just jump across the screen and, like look inside her wardrobe. And sometimes she mentions that when I look at you, like often we call each other, we have video calls, and she told me that, when I look at you at the Google Meet, and while giving you a video call, I notice your wallpapers, this television, the water bottle, etc. And I feel like jumping across the screen and looking, like coming to your room and giving a closer look at these things. Now it feels a bit scary and also concerning, but what it really feels is that it feels sad to see how much people like to compare their own household with those of others. See, it is something that we can help if we want to, but we might not be able to help if we do not take immediate action. For example, I have a I know a person very close to me, very dear to me, and whenever they look at anybody else's household, they feel like, wow, look at the balcony, look at the flooring, look at the tiles, look at the wallpaper, look at how the sunlight enters into their household. Sometimes feels it is as if there is nothing in the world that will make them happy enough. Like there is nothing in the world that will make them feel a little connected to their own household. For these kind of people, whatever they have will always be lesser than what others have. Okay? Now, will the people at least take a closer look at what others did to earn that house, maybe? Or, like for me, I would rather question my mindset than to compare myself or anything that I am, or my work, or my way of thinking, or anything that I do or have to that of others. Because what I can work on myself, I can earn better things in life, I can earn a better identity. But when I look at others' things and I question and I compare, it makes me worry about the amount of time we are spending into thinking too much. So, the thing here is that if we are someone who likes to have a bright sunlight, okay, we might just walk up the terrace, we might just go out in the road and understand that the sunlight is for us. You know, if we if we like if we like greenery, and if we think that we don't have a proper garden or something, we might just go out and like enjoy a bit of greenery, go to a green zone, go to a park. It is a very cheaper way than to completely shut the doors on your house, break up with your house, give a bad name to your house, and move out. Okay? And spend lakhs or even more than that amount of money just because you don't have a proper garden. Okay? Now, Sometimes I feel that it is also okay to make these drastic changes in the household, or to, move spaces, go to different places because you like something different. But then again, I feel like sometimes it is very, very important to stay where you are to enjoy life as is. Now, another experience that I wanted to speak about is that when I was passing by this, this schoolhouse where, the classes were over, and often, I mean, this schoolhouse is very close to uh, my locality. And the thing is that this schoolhouse is very, I mean, sometimes when there are elections going on, sometimes when there is something going on, these schoolhouse, they are let out for other events as well. And like, I I sometimes, like, if you have seen these horror movies where there is some security guard or somebody who stays back in the schoolhouse that is their home, and how odd it feels, how scary it feels. And I remember that when I was in school, my school was a little outside my city. Okay, my school was a little outside my city. And like, our principal was given a apartment within the school campus. And, like, I will confess, I am here to confess, I have always been a curious child. Okay, and sometimes when we had certain, like, the principal used to take a few of our classes, for example, English, grammar, etc. Now the principal, whenever we had to submit certain assignments or homework, we would go to the principal's uh, room. And when the principal was not there, we would go to the principal's household. Okay, I mean his apartment. And their principal was living with probably his family, his wife and a small child. And like, we like, me and my friends, we would sometimes notice that, as I mean, immediately after his wife would open the door and greet us, there was this very cozy little dining table, and very cozy little um, showcase where they had kept the awards and other trophies that the principal has won over the time, and the bookshelves and other things. And like, it to me, as a child back in school, I felt very curious to even think that somebody can live so far away from the city, inside a school building, and just be happy with it, that quietude and all these things. Now, as I am living, like, in a metropolitan city, and from one metropolitan city to the other, then I have visited other metropolitan cities, see that the population of our country across the globe is increasing like anything. And I wonder that what could really be a solution to this. For example, when I first came to this space, I saw that there is this, like, just at the east of my room, there was this tree, and there was this small hut, very small hut with tiles on it, which is very rare to be seen in such a bustling area of the city. And there was just one single person living there with a few friends. Okay, and sometimes this person would be visited by his mother. So I think his father had passed away long back, and the mother had, the mother was living somewhere else, and he would be visited by a lot of friends, etc., etc. Now, just behind that house, there was this huge banyan tree, I think, or a peepal tree. I don't remember clearly, but it was a very old tree. And like, There were these lots of climber plants growing above the tiles, etc., etc. So what happened is that, you know, the person left the household, and eventually the house was taken over by a promoter, by a bunch of promoters. And like they got the space cleared away and cleaned it, and of course they fell the tree is gone. Those tendrils that I would look at and spend amazing time is gone. And there is a new apartment there. I mean, the of course building with a lot of apartments, at least 10 apartments, and every now and then people are coming to visit these apartments, etc. Sometimes I feel that maybe this actually is the answer. Like, I mean, what else can we really do other than actually letting go letting go of the I don't know, maybe letting go of this sadness when we see that, these small spaces, quiet spaces are being taken away, and enjoy the fact that, people who really need spaces to live are getting spaces to live. But then again, I was just the other day, I was visiting a workplace with my mother. My mother had some work near the. Uh, I mean, there is this place called Dharmotola in Calcutta. Mother had some business there, and I had accompanied her. And like I saw that there were these people sleeping on the street, and I felt kind of relaxed and happy looking at them, because I felt like they don't have any bills to pay, because I felt like they don't have anything to do. And, you know, I know it is a sad life. I know it is a life without security or a care in the world, and I understand that it is a dangerous and even disastrous life. I mean, you have no brace against whether you have no brace against the usual situations of life. And of course, if a person is homeless, then the person is completely run out of money or something like that, maybe even a livelihood. But it felt it felt calming and peaceful to me to live. I mean, I wondered, like, I don't have the courage to talk about these funny things to my parents, but sometimes I wonder how would it be to live on the streets, you know. But of course, I cannot, like, not being a homeless, but just to live on the street, because on my way to other places, I sometimes look at people sleeping cozily in the street. And yeah, and then I to the come back to the household, and I feel that maybe we have a lot of privilege, right? And it is very sad, people, it is very, very sad to understand simple facts in life, right? That there are, I mean, we all are humans, living beings, things, in a happy and a great world, we would be equating ourselves with simple things, not just other living beings. You have to understand these people. We, as really good human beings, we have to equate ourselves with things, not with other living beings, not just with other living beings, okay? Today, if we have this bottle, like if you see this bottle, this wallpaper, this TV, okay? Are we far better than the TV? Are we far better than, the laptop that I am currently recording my video on? Of course we are, right? Because we have a heart, we have a voice, we have free will, we have desires, we have people to talk to, we have great things. Things are there. We are very happy, we are very privileged, but we are not that grateful. When I see these people out on the road, they probably beg, they probably do mundane odd jobs, And when I come back my home, I feel sad, I feel guilty, I feel disrespectful towards the many hard work that probably my parents have done, that probably my ancestors might have done, that probably, you know, some other person right at this moment as I make the video probably is doing. For example, I think that, like as I'm speaking, there might be a student who is working very hard to make their dreams come true. Probably they are, constantly mugging up some uh, some chapter. Probably they are getting nervous about an examination that they have in the next few hours. So it feels a bit crazy to even think that what will be the next wallpaper in our household, what will be the painting that we are going to get in our household. Now I also understand that in this time when we are so cooped up, it is also okay to just go out sometimes and feel that, like, and, like just to go out sometimes and feel happy about things that we do not practically or legally own. For example, we might have, a craving to have particular plant in our household, but we might just look at the plant and just be happy. Like for example, just the day before yesterday, I was like my neighbor had an emergency and I had to rush to her household, and I saw that she has a very beautiful money plant growing from a pot of going from a water bottle, and it is just this beautiful looking, the tendrils, the stems are coming out, and she had probably got that propagated from a different plant. And the thing is that it made me crave for a similar bottle, a similar money plant for my own. And I immediately thought that, today if I ask my parents, or if I get a money plant, I get that bottle, spend some money on it, then, you know, I might be happy for some time, but it is also great. It is great. It is amazing to look at something that I do not own, but somebody owns, feel a little happy that that thing does exist. Just the fact that the money plant exists makes me very happy. Okay, so to all the people out there, if you are going crazy, if you are going sad, or nervous about what kind of a house do you need, why don't I have that house, why don't I have that garden, why don't I have that balcony, why don't I have that decor, what about that wallpaper, what about that thing. It is okay not to have. For example, when I look at this wallpaper, okay, I feel a craving to go under the water, explore these ruins, okay, look at these fishes, irrespective of how much dangerous, costly, next to impossible it would be. And I know that, since I'm in this country, I'm in India, and I understand that, in India, you can, like, I've heard a lot of people, they go to Goa and go snorkeling and they observe these little fishes, these corals, etc., etc. But I'm just not equipped for that. I am not brave or courageous enough for that. And honestly speaking, at this point of time, I might not even have the money for that. You know, like, and even if I have the money for that, I might not be in a emotional space. I might not be that excited or happy to just take, make a plan, go to Goa, do snorkeling, and come out of that water and feel happy that I've spent money looking at the fish. But I can just look at this wallpaper and feel happy about it. Okay, so that is the thing. Sometimes when we want something, maybe we want to tell something about it, maybe we are just curious, maybe we just want to have a look at it. Okay, it is just like when you go out and you notice this beautiful, go out during the festivities, maybe Diwali, maybe something, you notice these little uh, fairy lights outside the households, or you notice these things. Okay, I mean, it is okay not to be that active, not to be that person who has the courage to put out the fairy lights or something. It is absolutely fine to pass by the streets and notice that, it is the fairy lights that somebody else has put out, and my eyes are meant to just look, just be happy about it. Okay, but you know what is not okay? It is not okay to just look at other people's lives and live a life of copy paste. Okay, it is not okay. um because if you are doing it within a household, that is fine. For example, sometimes me and my mother and my grandmother, we share everything we own. But when you have this tendency of being unhappy with your life because you don't own something that the others own, then you might tell yourself that, I can just work on my dreams, I can just be patient, and everything will come to me, and eventually I will also own that thing. We must not associate happiness with owning things. And yeah, so I hope the next time you look at other people's households, you observe things properly. For example, like the usual things I mentioned, the terrace, the balcony, the beautiful structures. Just be happy that those beautiful things do exist. You're a part of this world, that these things do exist, that these things exist. But when we run after this rat race, that I badly want that, you know, you might lose out on a lot of things. So maybe it is time that we change the mindset.